being at 6:30, I'd like to call this meeting to order. If we could please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if we could have a moment of silence for our military heroes. You may be seated. Kristen, is roll call being taken?
Yes.
Can we please start with introductions by Chief Sutter?
Scott Sutter, Chief of Police.
Brian Will, Fire Chief.
Don Grice, DPW Director.
Tessa Sweeney, Director of Senior Services and Community Engagement. Kristen Kenyak, City Clerk. Brooke Card, City Treasurer. Ellen Glass, City Manager.
Denise Miller, City Councilor.
Brad Deck, City Councilor.
Mike Gilder, City Attorney.
Liz Armstrong, Mayor.
Gary Lane, Mayor Pro Tem.
Dan Powell, City Councilor.
Tom Dick, City Councilor.
Brenda Simons, City Councilor.
And we have a special presentation tonight, Chief Will.
Madam Mayor, City Council, we actually have a new member of our fire department. Chief will actually have introduced him this evening.
Good evening. A month ago, I made a presentation for us to plan for a purchase of a new fire truck, as I recall. The last slide was a pitch to recruit firefighters, as I always do. Thanks to a resident's mom who was in the audience, immediately thought of her son, who was home from his first year of college. After the meeting, she approached me with questions, and within a few days, I heard from him in an interview, and subsequently, being hired as our newest member of our fire department. I would like to introduce firefighter trainee Trenton Fletcher. Since his hire date, he has attended several fire calls and actually rode the fire truck to certain fire calls to learn and observe what his future in serving this community will be like. I would like to thank Trenton and his mom for signing up and helping us out when our residents are in need. Welcome aboard.
We have two pieces of correspondence, the Genesee County CDBG program continuation, letter request, and the status of cooperative meeting study email fire department. We are going to move into public comment. Before we do, I'd like to just make a quick remark. Before we.
Can anyone hear in the back?
No. All right, I'm gonna hold it right here. Is this any better at all? No.
You can't hear in the front either.
Okay. Is this any better?
Yes.
Back in here? Thumbs up in the back? Very good. All right. Before we begin tonight's meeting, I would like to remind everyone of a few provisions contained in the City Council Rules of Procedure. As presiding officer, it is my responsibility to maintain order and enforce the rules of the meeting. Everyone should wait to be recognized before speaking, and discussion should be directed through the chair. Individuals should not interrupt one another except for a proper point of order, and all comments should remain courteous, respectful, and focused on the matter before council. I would also respectfully request that all cell phones be silenced. If possible, I ask that council members place their phones in front of them and refrain from texting, emailing, or using their phones during the meeting unless there is an emergency or a matter requiring immediate attention. Giving our full attention to the business before us helps ensure a productive and respectful meeting for everyone. Thank you for your cooperation and commitment to conducting the city's business in a professional and orderly manner. With that being said, we're going to move into public comment. If I mispronounce your name, Jeff, and you live on Tickner, 402 Tickner?
Sweet?
Yes. Sorry, that last little bit here was a little smeared.
Yeah, I'm left.
Jeff Sweet, for Tickner. I'd just like to advise the board about the new fire truck, not to miss the next slot. It will, the price will compound itself. I understand after, if this slot is missed, the emissions price goes up $20,000, but it also snowballs after that because these trucks constantly idle. The systems come up. Exhaust system is about $15,000 to replace. The EGR coolers are $4,000 a piece. And like I say, it'll just compound, plus you need diesel exhaust fluid constantly. That's all I have to say on this. It's a slippery slope if we let this window slide.
Thank you. Patty Kahn.
Hey, everybody, thank you for coming. Just a quick question to the chief. How's the speed limit? I see they put the guide, the evaluation, is that still in process?
Speed limit as far
Yeah,
as
Silver
on
Lake
Tickner,
Road.
Silver Lake Road? I mean, the speeds are well down because we got one lane, so, I mean.
No,
as-
but I mean, for future, once that reopens?
For
that
future,
they-
I've talked to the other chiefs from the other jurisdictions. I mean, they're not interested in being a part of it at this point. But we will continue those conversations.
So what you're telling me is nothing's been done?
No, there's been conversations, but that's all we've done, you know.
Ma'am,
Okay.
in the future,
Yeah.
just direct it this way.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Thank you for educating me on that.
No.
So I just had one other question, is, the progress on the line that's the county's still doing through Ripley, has that been approved through the city?
So,
Because I've been approached by Lawrence Engineering.
so once, the way it works, once everyone has public commented, then I will turn it over to the city manager to answer the parts that she can answer. If she can't answer it tonight, then she'll get back with you via phone call or email.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Alexandra Belch.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and city staff. My name is Alexandra Fouch, and I'm here tonight as a resident and a representative of hundreds of community members who have expressed support for improving Ripley Road. I've provided copies of my remarks and supporting information for the council and staff. First, I'd like to recognize the residents and community members who took time out of their evening to attend today. Thank you very much. Their presence reflects the level of concern and interest surrounding the issue. Over the past several weeks, a group of residents has spent significant time researching the history, ownership, funding opportunities, and challenges associated with Ripley Road. We have spoken with city officials, members of this council, the Genesee County Road Commission, Fenton Township representatives, residents, and others who have been involved with Ripley Road discussions in the past. One thing has become abundantly clear: this is not a simple road project. We have learned that the unpaved portions of Ripley Road are under the jurisdiction of the city of Linden. We have learned that Ripley is classified as a collector road and has been submitted for transportation improvement program funding in the past, but has struggled to compete for grant dollars because it remains unpaid. We have learned that significant infrastructure considerations exist, including drainage, utilities, road-based improvements, and potential future transportation needs. We've also learned that this is likely not a project that any single entity can solve. Because Ripley serves as a border road between the city of Linden and Fenton Township, funding responsibilities and project leadership become more complicated. We have heard examples such as Edie Lake Road, where jurisdictional challenges delayed improvements for years until a broader solution emerged. Through conversations with the Genesee County Road Commission, we have received very rough preliminary cost estimates that suggest the scale of the project is substantial. Through discussions with Fenton Township representatives and members of this council, we have gained a better understanding of special assessment districts, grant funding realities, and the long timelines often associated with public infrastructure projects. Perhaps the most important thing we have learned is that there is no single solution. The answer may involve drainage improvements, it may involve grant funding, it may involve future development participation, it may involve township participation, it may involve a special assessment district. It will likely involve a combination of these approaches. What we are asking for tonight is not a commitment to pave Ripley Road. We are not asking the city to write a check. We are not asking for promises. We are asking for is leadership. We are asking the city to help bring together the appropriate stakeholders, including the city of Linden, Fenton Township, the Genesee County Road Commission, residents, and any other relevant parties to begin developing a coordinated path forward. We are asking that the city help to bring the appropriate stakeholders together. We would like to understand what these formal steps are required to evaluate options, obtain engineering analysis where necessary, identify potential funding opportunities, and determine what improvements may be realistic in both the short term and long term.
Ma'am, I want to be rude, just letting you know, if you can wrap it up.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's 3 minutes.
Yep. So our goal is to work collaboratively, respectfully, and constructively with all parties involved. Tonight, we respectfully ask for the city to support help in organizing and facilitating the next steps necessary to evaluate Ripley Road and determine what options may exist for long-term improvements. We look forward to meeting.
Thank you very much. President Kenya.
Passing on the budget. I put that on my list. That's an agenda item, right?
Yes, Mary Sweet.
Mary Sweet, 402 Tickler Street. I just have a few questions for council members and the mayor on the FOIA request that's come out.
Very last one.
And why it is that our council members can't go through the minutes from the meetings from January on to get some of the answers that you're asking the city clerk and whoever else to waste time and money, which we as taxpayers are paying, where you could find a good amount of the information that you needed by reading the minutes that you all have approved at past city council meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. DDA Linden.
Hi, I'm Janine Stafford. I chair our Linden DDA. This is my personal opinion, it's not of the DDA, but we support Ellen. We've never been more informed as a DDA board than with Ellen. Every meeting, she gives us what we need. And in fact, we've requested at one time that they go back and look at taxes and they found some money for the DDA. My concern right now is at our last
My name is Carter Ray, and I live at 111 North Main Street. Mayors, councilors, and citizens, as a lifelong resident, I must say this mayor and council has brought dishonor and discord to not only their positions, but to our city. From day one, this mayor has been out to discredit our city manager. Why? I would like that answer tonight. The mayor was not involved with the city at the time she was hired, and certainly does not know the parameters set forth. This mayor and council has totally debased our city charter, the foundation of our city. It seems apparent some have never read the city charter to know what their duties are and their oath taken. I suggest you do so. As for transparency, the mayor, as to your suggestion to FOIA your comments from the last council meeting, I did. This is the response. Please see the attached extension request. City clerk is meeting and waiting on the mayor to determine the correct email or document she was referring to. Well, that's transparency, does not. Stop portraying yourself as a victim, as it appears you are usually the perpetrator, as I know well, as you made false allegations against me. In closing, when I finally get to the responses from the new FOIAs that I submitted, I would gladly share all information with anyone asking. That's transparency. Once that happens, that will set forth my next decision as to how to move forward personally for me to help stop the madness, be it litigation from past allegations that were proven false, ethics violations, or recall. Thank you.
Monica Lerner.
Is this better? Okay, start the time over, please. Thank you. Okay. So Lucy Center management continues to be disappointing to me. From March 24th through May 27th, there have been 41 canceled exercise classes. And that doesn't include, there's no class.
Lost it.
Okay. So that doesn't include, there was no classes the afternoon of St. Patrick's Day, no classes on movie day, April 1st, they were closed on April 3rd, and there were no classes on May 5th for voting, and no classes on May 14th for the ladies' tea, they were closed Memorial Day. So we were told that the senior services would not be affected by voting, but the senior center was closed to activities. So does that mean the senior center?
It's up again.
Thanks, Don. So with this, is the senior center going to be closed for the 9 days in November for voting, even though we were told that that wasn't gonna be affected? So, the consent agenda shows $2,808 spent for city hall cameras. However, we cannot get the recording equipment, which has been on the books for many, many months. The sidewalk ordinance, I have pictures. So on North Bridge, West Ralston area, which seems to be the problem, my husband walks that daily, and there's cars parked on the sidewalk again. The yard signs remain in the road right of way, including on the corner of North Bridge and West Ralston. One was there for 2 weeks. I had problem with my compost, not getting picked up, and then having to go through multiple phone calls. But when I called City Hall, it was like, well, Wednesday, it'll get picked up. It was like, it was no big deal. But it was a big deal to me because those 5 bins still had 5 more bins worth of stuff to be put into them. So so I needed to have a double pickup since they missed it in the first place. So I don't like the way the city council is treated when they vote a way that doesn't agree. I give them props for not just going along with the flow and having a mind and ask questions, and I don't know why they are treated that way, because I think it's their right to do that, and they shouldn't be bashed because of it. Thank you.
My name is Karen Wickstrom. I live in, can you hear me? I'm Canterbury Court in Linden, and my first point was the Linden Mill project. The parking lot is still torn up with a lot of heavy equipment there. It's fenced off. There's no parking available for the businesses on Silver Lake, which of course isn't a good thing. And then I heard it's over budget. And my question is, what qualified person oversees the project and what conclusions, if any, were reached? The other matter of concern is the senior services are now linked with community engagement, which it appears that the senior center is now a community center serving 50-year-olds or anyone in the community. And yet, several months ago, we asked our library be restored, and in response, we got 2 bookshelves, small ones, that replaced the room that housed several shelves. The problem now, again, is with the taxes. We're being assessed for the library and senior services. However, we have no library, and the senior center is fast becoming community center for all. That being said, I ask the council and the mayor to consider a refund of this assessment or a portion of it. And I know certain portions have to go to Genesee County, but in the meantime, at least to hold in abeyance any and all such funds and taxes paid by Linden taxpayers for library and senior services. Thank you.
Thank you. May Vernon.
Can everyone hear me? A little closer, Bear, a little bit closer. Is that better? Ah, great, thank you. A number of years since I spoke to a large group, so if I stutter or misspeak, please understand. My name is May Vernon. I live in Linden. As I have been reviewing the city's budget documents from prior years and comparing them to recent budgets, I noticed that several pieces of information that used to be included are no longer there. The 2 items that stand out to me the most are the beginning fund balances and the revenue and expenditures from the most recently completed fiscal year. Those caught my attention because Michigan's Uniform Budgeting and Accounting Act, MCL 141.435, specifically says that this information, quote, shall, end quote, be included in a budget document. I also noticed several other items that seem important to me for understanding the city's financial condition. Number 1, State Form L 4029, which is the state rate request. States tax requests, excuse me. Number 2, debt retirement summaries. Number 3, schedule of indebtedness for government funds. Number 4, schedule of indebtedness for proprietary funds. At one time, there was also an overview of the city, which included property tax information, including millage levy and taxable values, and this was by year for a number of years. I mean, to be each budget would have number of years information included. Okay, number 6, top 10 property statistics, including state equalized value, taxable value, proper owner by acreage. To me, these documents help paint a more complete picture of the city's finances, tax base, and financial obligations. My questions are simple. Number 1, I have 2. Number 1, why were these items removed from the budget documents? Number 2, how was that decision made and who made it? I'm not asking for a detailed explanation tonight. I'm simply trying to understand. Any answers would be greatly appreciated tonight. I believe residents and elected officials should have access to complete financial information so they can fully understand the city's financial condition and make informed decisions according to law. Thank you for your time.
And that concludes all the public comments that I have. So Ellen, would you like?
Yeah, I'm just going down the list here to see. Mr. Sweet on the fire truck, I think it's important to understand that we have not, tonight the budget is to adopt the budget, not to approve the fire truck. Yes, a line item in there is for the potential for us to look at, a bond or a loan for the fire truck, but we are not approving the fire truck this evening. Chief Will, do you have any other comments on that as of right now, or are you good?
I'm all good, right? I'm collecting information still, it's just all the process of
Yeah, so it's just all part of the process
gathering
of
information.
collecting information and bring that back at a later date. In regards to the speed limit and the progress on the water line, I guess I will let Chief Sutter and DPW Director Don Rice address those. From Ms. Khan, if they have any further comments on that?
Just that right now isn't the time to do a traffic engineering study either because of the current construction.
As far as the water main along Ripley goes, it's a county project in conjunction with Fenton Township, and I know they are working on a design. I don't know that design has been completely finalized yet, and to my knowledge, it has not been bid to this point, so they would like to do it as quickly as possible to provide water to a neighborhood that's struggling, but it has not been bid to my knowledge.
Can I do a counter question? Am I allowed to? No?
In regards to the Ripley Road, I did send out an email back to Ms. Fouch. Sorry, you were up here before. So I did send an email later this evening, and I apologize I didn't get it out sooner and things like that. So we obviously have to do some research on our end and things like that. I will say this, you've opened up the conversations. I talked with Alex Patsy from the county last week, and also Tom Broker today. So we'll continue to bring back that information. And I have copied our attorney on that, but we have some questions that we need answered before we can move forward. But the communication is open, so appreciate you and the emails. So more to come.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Ms. Sweet had a question in regards to it to the council and the FOIA request. I don't have any information on that, if any of you would all. The DDA, Jimmy and Saplack, I don't really have any follow-up on that at all tonight.
There is council comments later on.
Marguerite, FOIA, City Council, I with you, on the number of items. Myself or my staff will follow up with you, unless Tessa, do you have anything specific on, any of the items below C, or just follow up?
The only thing I have, you referenced the election day. May 5th, we still had regular programming. We did have cancellations for arthritis class because the instructor had a family emergency she was dealing with. And then the other instructor was also dealing with organizational requirements for her own job, so.
So should we have some substitute?
We are working on it.
And the recording equipment, as you all know, Kristen did provide an update, so we have our microphones on order for that, and we'll hopefully be able to finalize our system with the iPad and be what is sufficient enough for what everyone is expecting. So, those two.
If I may,
Oh, sorry.
as far as the signs and the cars, we've collected, I don't know how many signs are in our garage, in the fire bay, actually. We've collected, a lot of them are on, at Ralston Road there in Bridge, so we will continue to, and then if you see something, just call the city line, and I can call you later and give that to you. And
My husband has the caregiver, taking on there.
Excuse me.
Yeah. So if you call the city line, 735-5454, and leave a message, then the officer can go and take a look at it, or an email, whatnot, and then I will, advise my officers to go out there and take care of it then. Okay?
Karen Wickstrom, in regards to the mill parking lot and mill project, Don, would you like to give an update on that? Address those
I'm
comments?
gonna give a mill update here shortly, but as far as the parking lot is also budgeted to be replaced once the project is finished, so you should have a nice new parking lot. We also have to do some water main work in that immediate area as well, so.
In regards to the senior center and the community engagement, Tessa's title is Senior Services Director and Director of Community Engagement. We felt, and I think at the time when we created that position, that they go hand in hand, right? And senior services and trying to coordinate with all of the other entities that we have. We don't receive a ton of complaints in regards to, the services that we are providing for seniors at this point, and we're trying to continue to expand that, improve that, and appreciate the comments. As far as the taxes go, senior service millage and the Genesee District Library millage are all countywide villages. They're voted on by entire Genesee County, so that is something that would have to be addressed with Genesee County as far as reimbursement goes. In regards to Bay Vernon, thank you for the comments in regards to the budgets and comparing them in the previous years. I do know that our L4029 is still yet to come forward to the council for approval, and I think our treasurer can speak to a majority of the items that you had tonight, and Brooke, if you'd like to. You want to follow up? Okay. She advised that she will follow up with you. Thank you.
There's no answer tonight. There's no answer tonight to my two questions.
Right, she advised that she would follow up with you. Thank you.
We'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve? the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve this consent agenda.
Support.
Dick?
Aye.
Miller?
Aye.
Yes. Just confirming, yes, for approving. Hicks?
Yes.
Lyman?
Yes.
Link?
Yes.
Armstrong?
No.
Howe?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Moving on to discussion items, no building update.
Madam Mayor and City Council, DPW Director Don Grice, as you already mentioned, does have an update for you all. He's going to do a presentation for items A, B, and C. So thank you, Don, for putting this together. So I'll turn it over to him.
I did share. I won't be that long. I won't be that long. Take your time, sir. First thing I do want to clear up on the mill building. The mill building is not over budget at this point. It's trending in that direction because of some of the things that we've discovered. I'll show a few of those tonight. But the city council approved $5.62 million for the project. We've currently spent a little over $2 million. So I know it's sort of out there that it's over budget, and it certainly isn't at this point. Again, trending in that direction because of some unforeseen things, but it's not currently over budget. Next slide. The intent of these presentations that I'm doing for council is to try to be as transparent as soon as we're become aware of some of these issues. I've done several of these reports at this time, just so council, what we didn't want to do is come to you in the 11th hour and say, hey, we're $500,000, $1 million over budget, and catch everyone by surprise. So we've gone through this process, and tonight I'm going to show you a few other items. We've worked on this was the last remaining foundation on the mill building that we haven't discussed to this point. So this is on the western wall, which is where you would enter to go into the council chambers previously. And as you can see, when they excavated in the area, this was the existing foundation. It was a fieldstone foundation. And as you can see in this photo, it's just deteriorated to the point where it was no longer substantial enough to support the building properly. So what we had to do, and I'd also make note of the soupy soils that are down there. Again, we're right next to a river, you know, so some of this was anticipated, but certainly not to the degree that we discovered once we started excavation. So once the structural engineer is able to see the footing, they make recommendations on what needs to be done in order to properly support the building. So what you see here is a process of they're forming up so that they can pour additional concrete there to stabilize that existing foundation. That fieldstone foundation is still there. What they're doing here is reinforcing that foundation. You can go to the next slide, please. As you can see here, a substantial foundation has been put around this building now. I tease, like, if there's a tornado or a bomb threat or anything, the mill building is the place to go in the future, because there is just a tremendous amount of concrete that was poured around that facility. You can see here, that's the area that they were forming up here, and you can see the new foundation. Next slide, please. And this is what the structural engineer recommended. So if you look at the blue line here, that was the existing fieldstone foundation. And what he had them do is penetrate that wall with these J hooks, and then pour and tie it into that new foundation that now parallels that footing. Here's if you look at a side profile of it. So what they did again is just tie that old existing foundation into the new concrete, again stabilizing it and preventing it from failing further. Next slide. These are some other challenges, again, that we came across once this project started. We didn't find any record of these underground storage tanks, and there was actually two that were discovered. One was a septic tank, and to my knowledge, no one knew that there was still an active septic tank connected to the mill. Sure enough, there was. So we did find that one previously, but this was a secondary one that was under the stairs. If you remember where the wooden stairs were that went down to the basement, this was another one. Again, this isn't something that was anticipated at the time of construction, so these are what are referred to as extras or change orders in a project. Next slide. And here's some other issues that were uncovered once we, again, start pulling down drywall. One of the things in the floor joist, you can see here that at some point, they went in and notched all the bottom sides of those floor joists in that structure. And that reduces the load leveling for the floors in that facility. So at this point, a structural engineer is going to review. Again, he'll take into account the size of these floor joists, the size of those notches. Unfortunately, those notches were almost exactly in the center of those floor joists, which is really the worst place for those to be. We have a temporary wall here, you can see, just to make sure that it's stable in the meantime. But those are things that have to be reviewed, re-engineered, and then they'll come up with a solution. Hopefully, in this case, these are huge floor joists. hopefully there's still enough there in order for us to meet loading, and we won't have to address that issue. Over here, you see, once we tore down this wall, there was a wall where this beam penetrated into a wall there. This was in the foyer of the library, if you're familiar with the foyer area. And this was hidden there. You can see these check marks, they call it, in this beam. And again, it's hard to see in these photos, but it was substantially compromised back here. At some point, someone went in and put this temporary beam here. This isn't part of the original structure. This was their sort of short-term solution on making sure that that didn't become more of an issue. So again, just in the effort of trying to be transparent with some of the challenges that we come across as this project moves on, I just want to again make council aware of some of the things that are out there. So. Any questions on the mill building?
I have a question.
Do any residents have any questions?
Here.
Wait a minute. You mentioned that there's no overage yet. You have a projected overage.
Well, we are projecting that it will go over, but at this point, we're right around 400,000 above where we expected to be with some of these things there.
I believe if Lansing, I figured like 4.2 is mentioned.
Lansing?
In Lansing, or we were at Lansing when we were talking to the people about the funds.
That wasn't for the
Oh, you're right, it was water.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other additional questions?
Why would city council approve over budget without anybody, or no, the unknown, you're doing the unknown. You're going over, you only spent 2 million, you got 2 more million. Maybe if you got 3 million, then they could come and approach the city council and then they're, and ask for more money, because if you guys keep approving money, then our taxpayer money would have to be the difference. And then they're gonna use it all.
Any additional questions?
Yeah, I was just wondering, is there any projected finish date?
At this point, they're saying October of 26. I don't, I think it's a little optimistic, but that's what November, you know.
You didn't say the year.
26.
Questions, council?
First of all, thank you. You know, I love the mill. I couldn't imagine. What? I'm sorry. You can't hear my voice? Thank you, because I could not imagine not doing this work and where this building would be in another 10, 15 years. I mean, you found artesian wells under there, you found all kinds of stuff. No pots of money, but, we'll celebrate Christmas with a beautiful mill building. So thank you, Don, and crew, everybody that's really put everything they have into this.
You said before, this is a pay-as-we-go, so hopefully we can find some savings going further into the building, and won't, no more surprises about that.
Yeah, the one I didn't mention, we also found some vermiculite in the foyer that was, that's sort of pictured here, matter of fact, this is after they remediated it. And again, it's just those little things. So for example, that delayed the project by 10 days because the workers have to leave the area until they take care of it. And so we're back on track this week, and just these little doggone surprises. And anybody that's worked on a historical house or a historical building knows that these things are just revealed once you start digging in.
Councilwoman Summers,
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Hicks.
Just one quick question. The large beam there with the horizontal cracks in it, is that a solid beam or is that a link?
It is a solid beam.
Solid beam.
And it's huge. I mean, it's probably 14 again, it's up to the structural engineer, so there's a couple things that are being discussed. They can put metal on each side, but we also have some sections where we had to remove some of those beams, so we might be able to substitute some of those ones that have been removed for this piece. We have to wait for their feedback. Thank you.
So are you expecting to find surprises too on the upper floors, once you get beyond the more, where we'd expect to find these problems with the foundation, given that the structural techniques are farmers throwing together fieldstone base, but the upper stories, do you expect those to be, like the most of the surprises have already been found, or?
I would suggest that the vast majority of the surprises have been found, because at this point, all of the drywall is down, all of the foundations have been exposed and reconstructed. The vermiculite was, we didn't see that one coming. We're not sure why at some point, it was an interior wall, so we're not sure why they insulated an interior wall. So I think the majority of them are gone, but again, it's 175 years old.
Councilman Link?
Not much, just repeating what I've said before. I appreciate you coming early and letting us know what's going on. Yes, there's overages, but anybody, like you said, has dealt with any building of any age, right? There's always unanticipated problems. The fact that you're bringing them up early allows us to address and plan for those, so appreciate that.
Thank you for this presentation. Next is the church parking lot.
Council, you recall several months ago, you approved me to engage in conversations with the Linden Presbyterian Church. We've done that on a couple different occasions. I know there's some representatives here tonight. We've talked through some of the logistics of what a partnership would look like if we were to work with them to share a parking lot for their church as well as for public parking. What is in the packet tonight is an engineer's estimate of what that cost is expected to look like. So what's reflected on this is $481,495. That's this bottom line here. One thing that I do want to point out is there's what is highlighted or called out as miscellaneous structure removal, which will be pulled out of this estimate because that's actually a structure that the Presbyterian Church would be responsible for taking care of. So that reduces the overall cost of the project to $431,495, and our piece of that would be 50% is what we talked about with the board. So I guess at this point is what I'm looking for is a little more direction on it. This is something the city would like for us to continue to pursue. If so, again, we'll engage with the representatives from the church as well as the engineers and see what the next steps would be. If you tell me tonight that you're not interested in pursuing it, we will stop the conversation and have no further engagement with our engineers at this time. So.
Do any residents have any questions in regards with the church parking lot? Councilwoman Simons, any questions?
No, thanks, it's really.
Councilman Hicks?
No, not at this time.
Councilwoman Howell?
No questions.
Councilwoman Miller?
Well, I'm gonna go off what Scott said, sitting around counting the parking spots. We have quite a bit of parking in our city. With the cost of this, is the church paying into this too? What's the ratio of percentage?
It would be a 50-50 split.
50-50. And how many parking spots would that give us?
This is the configuration here. I believe I counted 66 parking spaces that are in the shaded area here. This is the proposed parking improvement.
How many parking spots do we have right now there? that, in the city? I'm sorry.
Gosh, I don't remember, we talked about that at a previous meeting, when we were, considering if we did have a parking issue in our downtown or not. I don't know the number off the top of my head.
We need more information.
Has this been addressed with the DDA? I would think it would be the DDA that would fund this portion.
It has not.
Well, we've been coming back to city council for some, so.
Councilman Lee?
I guess I would like to look at, or maybe have with the DDA, but I know we had talked about getting millings. Did we get millings from the Broad Street?
We did.
And maybe look at the possibility, I had spoken with Greg, but the possibility of converting that grass lot that's behind the Mason Lodge and all that, what would the cost be to convert that to a parking area? With the millings temporarily, with the plan of, my thought would be you save up, right, and then eventually turn it into a full blacktop, but right now, just make it a milling parking lot, and maybe you would have to clear out a few trees, but what would the cost be of that versus the cost versus going to the church? Something to look at, that's, not the answer now, but.
Right. Generally speaking, $3,000, $5,000 per parking space is sort of a range that you can normally consider. Depends how fancy you get, depends on how much curb gutter, if you're going to put in storm drains, those kinds of things. But generally speaking, it would be similar in cost with the same number of parking spaces.
For a full blacktop, right?
Yes.
But to use the milling and use the temporary parking area would be.
That I don't know. We'd have to level the area. I mean, there's work that would have to be done.
I would think, I don't know how much it would take, but we'll start looking into that to where we can come up with a number like, hey, if we were to convert this, you'd have to come in and move this or flatten it out, remove these trees, bring in the millings. Just if we could get a ballpark, we don't have to, a super detail, but something that'll give us enough information that we can kind of decide on a direction.
Right. So that piece is currently on the market. Is that something you would want to forego? It's the DDA has it.
Yeah, I mean, that would have to be part of the discussion.
Right.
That, yes, that is, as well as I believe the Fairbanks property is in front of that as well. It's not city owned, it's privately owned, not DDA owned. But, I mean, I would like to look at it and see what the cost would be if we were to go down that avenue.
The only question I have at this moment is how many years have we been using the church parking lot for events and overflow parking?
Longer than I've been. I don't know.
As far as me, I'm not gonna speak for everybody else, I'll just speak for myself. I would like to see if you can go to the DDA, bring back, whatever their thoughts are, bring that back to us, and a very small package for us to be able to review, and possibly get one of the church individuals here to come speak as well, so that way we can really know what we need to know, whether it be with the information Jerry asked for versus, this information, and we'll look at it all together. Thank you. Next is barn update.
This is another one that's currently in the packet. One of the things that the users of LoC and council wanted us to look into is the possibility of finding a space for the pool table and some other activities here at the LoC Center. So what we looked into doing was, with the Quonset hut that's out back here, looking to creating a rec space, quite honestly. Tessa and I talked about it, and it's something that the city council is interested in pursuing. We'd have a naming competition for for the users at LoC here to come up with a creative name if we decide to move forward. But what's in the packet is a cost estimate for doing that, and I'll just quickly go through the bullet points of what that work would include. It would be installing 6 new 120 volt receptacles along the north wall. So in addition to moving the pool table out there, we thought it would also provide the opportunity to put some exercise equipment in that area as well, treadmills, bikes, those kinds of things. So we would install some new receptacles, extending the gas service from the back of the building here over to the Quonset hut so that they could add heat. Applying an average of 3-inch closed cell spray foam insulation, again, so that we can make it an all-season facility. The next couple are applying coats of fire-rated coating, basically painting the insulation that they're talking about. Ceiling-mounted wall heater would be in there, again, programmable thermostat, providing power to that unit, replacing the lights that are out there, installing a new epoxy floor system, and replacing the non-insulated overhead door with an insulated door. So the total working budget estimate here is $55,624. So 2 questions tonight: is this something that you would like us to pursue? And if so, would you be comfortable with us working with the low bid contractor that did the work in the annex here? Or is this something, if you are interested in pursuing, that you would like to go out for a full bid? Would you like to see any changes?
Do any residents have any questions on this item?
Right now, you can't put any of the stuff up to date, it's always canceled, so we're gonna add another addition and take this center that was made for seniors and start shoving to the back. We would ask for a storage area to put stuff, not to take away from the seniors and throw it to the back porch.
Councilwoman Miller?
Well, I listen to the seniors. I listen to Roby, which is not here today. But I know this is something that he was asked about, and the men to come here. It's important to them. And if it's, I would probably say go for the bids, to do it right. But this is what they wanted, is somewhere they could go and play pool or other activities. Do you know what you would do with the rest of the stuff that's in that building right now? If we make this, or this would be, everything we push aside and this would be in the middle?
Well, no, we would work in conjunction with, a lot of what's out there is part of the garden club too, and they're also working on getting a storage facility out here on site too, so we would work with them to get some of those things out of there. And then the other storage items, I would work with Tessa. It would probably get moved back into the actual storage room that's here in the center.
Well, I believe that the guys have spoken. They really like to have something that they can go to. I mean, women can play pool too, but it's important to them. So I would like to see the 3 bids. Thank you.
Councilwoman Simons?
I agree with getting the bids too, and that's a nice space. How big is that?
That is 20 by 40, I believe, somewhere.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Hicks?
Yeah, in your bid here, it shows a wall hanging. Is that one of the air conditioner heater combos?
That's just a heat unit that's quoted here, so if we were gonna do AC, we would have to look at that.
Those
Those are
ones
like a split unit.
The ones that have the small thing outside that comes up,
Yeah.
those are only 3 seasons, they're not 4 seasons, because they're heat pump. Below 26 degrees.
Yeah. This is an actual heat.
This is an actual heater, so if we use it in summer, then we have this AC too.
If they wanted control for, line control, we would want to have these.
replace the overhead door with a, insulated one, but is there another way to get into the space besides just the?
There's a
Okay.
small entrance door as
Okay,
well.
and they still need the overhead doors then?
Yes.
Okay, and I think that getting the 3 bids is really good because it's a great thing for everybody, especially the exercise equipment that tends to put it out there and use on the honor system. Okay, I wasn't sure if that was, no, I think it's a good idea and 3 bids are always good.
Yeah, I would say go ahead and get 3 bids and then, I put a main split in there, space in there for, make it truly useful.
Councilman Lee?
Tess, I know you've had meetings with the seniors. Your thoughts on this? Have you gotten good feedback, positive feedback on it?
When we brought it up at the coffee and combo, I believe it was in April or something like that, there was good feedback on it, yes.
And then, Don, you mentioned having the same company that did the remodeling here. Did you feel they did a good job? I mean, that's separate from asking for the 3 bids, right? Do you feel they did a good job in here from your experience?
I do. They've done work for the city, in a lot longer than I've been here. So they do certainly have a history. They built this addition, this facility here. So, yes, I'm sure they would bid on it.
Okay. I mean, but, because if somebody comes, my fear always when you say, hey, we're gonna go out for 3 bids and we have to take the lowest bid, sometimes when you take the lowest bid, that's exactly what you get is the lowest bid, right? So if this company does good and their pricing is good, is that something that we can look at and say, hey, that we can give this, or do we have to? I mean, I don't know if we can tie that into this.
Right.
You had kind of mentioned it like it's a possibility we could go with these guys.
Well, we have a recent history of them being the low bid contractor. So, with council direction, that's certainly an option that we would have is to negotiate with them directly and work on that project.
I mean, if you're comfortable with the quality of work that they do and the pricing that they've given in the past, I would think that we could kind of look at that, and with your experience back, hey, yeah, this is a good price, or maybe we go out and get a bid if we feel that there might be a less expensive option. So that would be kind of my recommendation.
I am comfortable with the 3 bids. Appreciate the work. Moving on is the FOIA requests.
Madam Mayor, City Council, so we were asked to add this to the agenda as a discussion, and I think Kristen is able to provide an update this evening on that.
I was just gonna defer to Councilor Miller, some sort of information.
I just reached out because of the FOIA and see how many, FOIAs we've been getting, which is a good FOIA. I asked for a copy or a transcript of a meeting, and I had FOIA, so I didn't know how long that would take, or even the recording of that meeting. So, I know you guys were inundated with a lot of FOIAs. So, I didn't know how many, and I think that's important to add to this meeting to see, what's going on with what you're doing. So, thank you.
Sure. I can speak to, I have a rough number right now. So I think in your email you had asked for 3 years, so I just have like approximate. So right now, we have already received, it was 20 to 30 requests since January 1. But right now, I think I have between 12 and 15 open FOIA requests at the same time, which has never happened. 2025, we had about 30. In 2024, it was roughly 15 to 20 requests. And then 2023, it was between 10 and 20. So that's for city, that's not counting the police department. So Chief Sutter, do you have your figures you can share?
Yeah. Kristen mentioned that, so I looked into it. It's roughly about, for the 3 years, about 80 to 100 FOIAs that we've done.
Thank you very much.
business items. A, monthly grant updates.
So we, had this on the agenda, and currently right now, we're working on an EPA community grant, which was an appropriation through McDonald Brevet's office in regards to water. I have about a 6-page checklist that I have to finish up so we can get that funding. So currently, Brooke and I are working through that process, but we should see that funding come through. And then we're also continuing to work on and monitor the appropriations that are with Senator Peters' office, one for cruisers and one for upgrades, necessary upgrades for police fire facilities. And then Brian and I are actually working on submitting a grant currently right now for a fire truck through FEMA. So we'll continue that. The application window is open right now. They give you a short window, and it's due this month. So that's where we stand right now with those grants. I don't have the van, or the grant that we got for the low-C van. That is still, the van is still pending. We are told that we should still see that come through this year.
Any council questions on that? All right, meeting reporting.
Do you have an update on any of that, Kristen, other than I know in the email, Kristen advised that we did order the microphones. They're in the process. Hopefully we'll get them sooner than they anticipated and we'll get those in so.
I would like to make a motion that all city council, meetings, including Park and Rec, planning, zoning, DDA, that we're a part of, have be recorded. I'm troubled by some of the things I've seen at a planning commission where I had witnessed somebody slam somebody's computer down because they didn't get the information they wanted. Or, another person telling another board member that they had to stop speaking because they felt like they needed to stop talking. There's been some disrespect, and I think to keep transparency at all meetings, I think it's not a bad thing. Our city workers are there at most meetings, so I'm just gonna ask a motion to see if we can approve that.
Support. We can go into discussion.
Oh, I just didn't know if it should be added to business items.
It doesn't need to be, it can be addressed in this fashion. Motion has been made and seconded.
Councilwoman Sines?
I'm asking a motion to support.
Individual recordings at each meeting, so equipment where those meetings take place.
Yep.
So buying duplicated. Buying more equipment.
It's an iPad.
And travels.
Oh, okay. All right. Who would be assigned to do something like that? Would it be city?
City employees are always at most of the meetings.
Aren't they currently being recorded? Just because I haven't attended one recently.
They're being videotaped? Oh,
Our
really?
DDA,
That's
they put
great.
it right in front of me, Royce.
No, they're not being video.
No, sorry, they're recorded, right?
So our Parks and Rec, DDA,
Zoning.
planning, zoning. Actually, I feel like we did record the planning commission meeting last
Yes. Right.
last
Yeah.
week. So, planning
that would make it available to anybody, public that wanted to view it, they could go to YouTube, find it, click on it and watch it, correct? I think it's a good idea.
Councilwoman Hill?
I also think it's a good idea because it's, that way members themselves, they had one review for the next meeting, or there was an issue, then they're covered.
Councilman Dick?
I agree, I don't have a problem with it. My only concern is us having the ability to store that much I need to.
Anything further, Councilwoman?
The only thing else I have to say is I did request from, Kristen a copy for a transcript of the DDA meeting I had attended, on the 28th, and I was told that, first it was that you guys had the recording, I didn't know the DDA president held the recording.
No, Kristen's the only one, the clerk's department is the one that records the meetings to be able to dictate the minutes. So Kristen has that recording, and to my knowledge, you're the only one that has requested it.
They want to do it for you, so I'll save some money. No, so I just asked for the vote.
Councilman
I'm gonna go back to Mike on this. One of the classes I went to, when they were talking about storage and that you have to keep these documents for so long. In one of those classes, it was discussed that the video, do you have to keep the videos? And what he said is once the meeting minutes from that meeting are adopted, that those can become the official record of that meeting, and then therefore you don't need to keep the recorded as long as you have, that these are the official meeting minutes.
Certainly can be, in a situation like this, it's recommended that you have a record retention policy, which lays out what you're keeping for how long, et cetera. But typically, the meeting minutes, once approved, that becomes the official action of whatever that body report is.
Okay, so if we we could come up with, hey, we wanna keep the, YouTube's got a little bit of storage, but, we can keep it on there for however long, but we could say, all right, we're gonna keep 1 year or 6 months of videos, but the official is the meeting minutes once they're adopted in the next meeting, correct?
Yeah, the only thing that I want to look at is, are there presently written into law any specific storage requirements for certain items? I'm not aware of that, but if there was, we would be bound by it, and if not, we would be up to your discussion.
So with that, do we need to wait for the next meeting to do this, or can we do it?
No, there's,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
you can act on it tonight if you so choose.
Oh, Madam Mayor, I'm sorry. Can we look at that? Can we look at that and see if there's a state requirement for storing the meeting videos, if it's a year or 2 years? We just don't want to breach a guideline.
I just asked the city attorney that, and he said it wasn't necessary, am I correct? Before, prior to passing it.
No, yeah, you asked, can you go ahead and vote on it tonight? My answer was yes. And I don't know if what you are saying, Brenda, is, I'd rather wait until we got that before we acted. That's up to you, but.
That's what I'm thinking. I'd just like to know what the guideline is. I mean, we can adjust it later. We can say a year and then adjust it later if the requirement's different. But I'd really like to know what that requirement is. Because when you reach those requirements, you can get into get into a lot of stuff.
We currently follow the state schedule for retention. I believe that the retention period for audio and visual recordings is adoption of the minutes plus the day. So that's what we would adhere to.
Okay.
Make a motion to have the vote.
Is that all in favor?
It's your preference.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Contract statuses, it's really more the museum. I understand the library.
Yeah.
It's the museum.
Yep, no update from the last
adoption of fiscal year 2026, 2027.
Madam Mayor and City Council, tonight we have in front of you a resolution to adopt the city budget. This is the same budget that was presented at the May meeting. Staff is happy to field any questions. In addition, the resolutions that are also following are the same resolutions that were presented at the previous meeting. With the correction to the wage resolution that Kristen did explain, in the email, there was a correction to the firefighter pay with a minimum of 1 hour or increments after first hour, so we corrected that. And then our firefighter in training and our election workers, we want to make sure that those are set at just the standard minimum wage rate, so that way if there's a fluctuation in the year or any time, that it's just automatically whatever the minimum wage rate is, so we're compliant with that. Those are the only changes.
Could you take resolution F and move that down to I and start, purchasing and you start that and go down?
Is that a motion?
It's a motion.
Second?
Am I allowed to make my comment?
No, not yet.
I didn't hear what
Is
was
there,
said, I'm sorry.
she wanted, Councilman Miller wanted to take item F and move it to the bottom of
Got it.
the
Thank you.
support. Open it up for discussion on that item. Councilman Dick, any questions?
Well, if you normally you would adopt the budget and then talk about the other things that support it, or what they, we want to do it? Discuss everything else before we discuss the budget?
Do it right.
Councilwoman? Any questions on that?
No.
Councilman Hicks?
No.
Councilwoman?
I don't have any questions.
Councilman Lee, anything?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Think we're gonna have to show hands on that one? Or do you want to?
Any opposed?
Oh, any opposed? Okay, I guess it passed. It didn't say.
Why can't you do it this way?
So, we're going to
Anybody that chooses something?
move us to, yeah, do I need to do? We've never done that.
Can't hear you. I have a question. Was that vote unanimous?
Yes.
Okay, we're moving on to resolution number 6-26, adoption of City of Linden fiscal year fee schedule.
I don't have anything to add, it's the same as what was presented and discussed at the meeting, happy to go with questions.
Any resident questions about the fee schedule? Any council questions about the fee schedule? All right? What was that?
That's right over me. I asked to make a comment on F.
F got to the bottom.
It'll be the last.
To the bottom.
That's what we just voted on.
Okay, well, it's hard to hear what you guys were saying. Thank you, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, Kristen?
Is there a motion?
Oh, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the fee schedule as presented.
Now, Kristen, sorry.
Armstrong?
No.
Lee?
Yes?
Simons?
Yes.
House?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Hicks?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Number, or letter H, resolution number 7-26, authorizing compensation for all city officers, employees, and volunteer fire department.
we explained at the beginning, the correction, and then the wage was the correction.
Do any residents have any questions about the compensation? Ms. Preston?
All right, this is for compensation, so, raises, am I right? Okay. Have anybody in this room ever get a 15.5% raise? No. Okay, if you get a 3% or 4%, that's fine. Are police and fire department more important? Yes. Fire department, yes. I understand the workers work, but they did hire on knowing their jobs. But to give them anywhere from 5% above a raise, no. And when you get the comparison, it doesn't tell you whether that person worked 1 year or 20 years. I understand the study doesn't do it that way, but in real life, that's how it works. And taxpayers shouldn't have to eat a 15.5% raise.
I think my comment is better addressed at this. Generally, it's been a while since I worked on the city budget. But from what I remember, the budget, which should have been passed a few weeks ago, is only an estimate of income and projected expenditure. It's not meant to have an exact number at this phase, except for those mandated by contract. You still have an opportunity to fine-tune specific items if you need to. I'm upset by attacks on city employees' compensation by some. We have a highly competent, highly educated staff that handle multiple issues on a daily basis. These positions are not a dime a dozen. You just can't, fly out and find somebody to replace this expertise. I'm also bothered by bail tax on our fire department. These people are volunteers, for goodness sake. Do you really think the wages that they get for runs comes even close to the time and personal expense they contribute to our community? I don't think so. It's beginning to look like somebody has an agenda here to attack our fire department.
Any further statements? Councilwoman Simons, anything?
As far as wages go, it's up to the city manager to manage her staff and manage the raises. So they're doing a great job. I've heard it over and over again all year, last year. What a great job they do. And there's a lot of value in maintaining high-quality employees. So I'm all for the resolution. I don't have a problem with it. And the answer to the question, have you ever got a 15% raise? Yeah. Yeah, it is possible. And when you come in and you start low, and then you take a look at the, comparable wages across the cities this size, it's feasible that could happen.
Councilman Hicks?
I have no questions at this time.
Councilwoman?
I looked at the Michigan Municipal League data system on salaries and found that ours are really underpaid. Even this amount is far less than many are getting in similar cities. And part of our problem is retaining people. So we have to pay them an adequate wage that reflects their effort and work. And remember that they could get hired away quickly to another city if we don't give them something.
Councilman Dick?
We did use the wage comparison, and it does show that our employees are underpaid, they're compensated in a lot of places across the board, we average it out, the cities are the same size. But we have to take into account that the majority of our city staff has been raised in-house, so to speak. We've paid to train them. You know, they started out as part-time employees, some started out as part-time employees, worked their way into, you know, department head or maybe into the department head position. And when you do that, we don't take somebody and say, okay, here, try this job, and we're gonna give you a, you know, a 40% raise to get you up to market. We start them out lower, and then we evaluate if they do the job, then we take them up to where, what they should be. I believe we actually did that with the city manager we hired her. 6 months after she was in position, we did a review and raised her salary. Retention is the biggest problem a city our size will ever have with employees that are knowledgeable. There's other cities out there that have much more money than we do that can pay a lot better than we do. And we need to take care of the employees we have that have the knowledge. I mean, we've got great staff right now. Like I said, they're handling more FOIAs this year than ever. They're doing more work. This council's requiring them to do probably more work than they ever have done in the past. And I think we need to compensate our people to keep them here. I don't want to bring somebody in and get low and then pay for them to go through all the training and have them go to some other city. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Or if we want to bring somebody in that's got talent, we're going to have to pay them what the going rate is anyway.
Well, at the May meeting and before in April, I was asking for comparables with our staff. Never got anything until sometime in May. I have reached out, I've asked many times about where our staff is compared to other cities. I reached out to Frankenmuth. They're pretty much the same as our residents and how many, they serve here. Swartz Creek, it's just about, I'm not saying that these guys don't deserve the raises. I mean, but, when you do a 11%, a 15% at all one time, it's hard. We also have residents that, or staff that's getting a 4% raise because that's contractual, that's what they get. Most of the places I reached out to, normally they all get the same amount of raise through across the board. Frankenmuth, or Swartz Creek is 2.5% increase this year. Frankenmuth was 3% increase. And in all fairness, I know that these ladies have worked hard in getting the accreditation they needed. But the big jump at one time, when we have everything else going on in our city, the mill, the streets, I would love to come back and say next year we can, do the same thing again in just smaller increments. I don't know of anybody that's getting that huge percentage at this time. We have senior citizens in the city that their waters went up, their cost of eggs have went up, just the cost of living have went up, and the seniors got a 2.3% raise. I'm not against raises, and I think we got the best staff here. I don't know, when I've asked about how we can talk about the raises and how to make a compromise, nobody has the answer for that. The thing is that this is what they're gonna get, and we don't have a choice in that. It's do it all or do nothing. So I wish there was a way that we could compromise on raises, negotiate on wages. I don't know if you can do it here, but I will say, I have been asking. I've been asking since the beginning of April of the budget. This is what we got for the budget this year. This is what we got this May includes everyone in it, and the wages and everything we needed. This one, you have to go in about 5 different places to see one person's salary. There's a little bit of a difference. So to say that we didn't do nothing, I know I worked, and I know a lot of other people worked, and this isn't a personal issue with the staff, because we have the best. That's all I've got to say, thank you.
Really quick.
Ellen, sorry.
Oh,
Speak
no.
on the ethics.
Yeah, great. Go ahead, you probably are gonna say what I was gonna say.
The three-ring binder that you just showed Denise, I provide that once the budget's adopted. They're ready to go as soon as the council adopts it.
Okay, well, I'm sorry.
We didn't want to put them and have changes to it and then it has to be.
And I apologize for that.
Councilman.
Okay, here we go. You know, when I first saw the budget, $112,000 increase, 13% on wages. I was very skeptical about it because in all my experience in business, right, when you're the 10% person, you're the 10% person, you're the superstar, you get that 10% raise. And then everybody else kind of files in below that, anywhere from cost of living to, you know, up to that 10%, depending on A, how well the company's going, you know, B, how well the employee is doing, right? So, so I was very concerned with that. I had, you know, seeing as how the previous year, it was $49,000 increase if you don't count the addition of the LoC Center on those wages. Just the, you know, 49,000 was the increase from the year before that. So anyhow, like Denise said, we looked for a wage study. Ellen did provide us with, and I'd gotten it also from another source, the password to use the MML to go in and research the wages myself. So what I did is did a little research. What should you base your research on for someone like Kristen, the city clerk, right? The amount of work she does is based largely on the population of the city, right? If you have twice as many people, she's gonna have twice as many requests. So looking at it, most showed that somewhere around 40% of it should be weighted, and this is a lot of engineering talk and, you know, when I'm talking percentages and stuff, but it should be based strongly on the population of the city, then the revenue of the city, then the taxable expenses, and then finally the taxable value of the city. So with that said, I went into the MML, I did a wage study for all cities that are plus or minus 2,000 residents from where we are. So anybody from 2,000 to 6,000. For the clerk's case, that ended up being, I think it was 56 cities that I looked at to get an average. So what I did is took those cities, averaged out what the city clerk made for each one of those cities, and it came up to 68,984. Okay, the city is asking for 69. You know, the 16% was a very hard pill for me to swallow because typically you just don't see that. The only place you're going to see typically more than a 10% raise is if A, you were given a promotion to a new job title, or B, you're going to a new company that's going to pay you more. 10% is really not given out that often, and I don't know that I've seen, maybe very few that I've ever seen in my business experience. So it was a very hard pill to swallow, but my thoughts are this, okay? If the average pay for someone is what we are asking for each one of the staff members, and as I went through all of these, every one of the staff members was pretty close to what the city average is, within plus or minus, say, a couple thousand, right? Some were a little high, some a little low. I did have a hard time with it. It's a very large increase. However, you know, I mentioned in the last meeting, I have no problems giving out raises. If someone is worth a certain dollar amount, my feeling is you pay that individual a certain dollar amount. I say it at work all the time. Pay a person what they're worth, they're not gonna go looking somewhere else. You don't overpay, but you don't underpay either. So, and that's kind of the philosophy that I use in my civilian job or my normal work. You know, the deputy clerk, within a couple thousand. The treasurer within a couple hundred. And what I did is just grab as many cities in that population. These are all based solely off the population. Went down and all those increases reflected what I found on the MML website, direct data. What that data does not take into consideration is how many years of service they have or in that position or with that city. So that data is not available. So since the data is not available, I didn't include that in my evaluation. The LOCI, the 9% increase, there's not really anything, sorry Tessa, your job's unexplainable. But what I did look at is what was the lost gain in that area, right? One of the individuals went from, talking with Ellen, me and Tom went in and sat down with Ellen. One of the individuals went from full-time to part-time, so that's gonna drop you down a little bit. But then they transferred one gentleman from the DPW over to LOCI to do a lot of the cleaning because they were here all the time. So you had a net increase in personnel at LOCI. So to me, that would recommend, or you would see a net increase in the pay, justifying thus the 9% increase for the employees in general. DPW, Don's area, 26%. That one, when I first looked at it, I was like, holy cow, what's going on there? There was no increase in individuals. I think they're the same numbers, or maybe, I don't know if you dropped one. But in the conversations with Ellen and Brooke, what Brooke did is she front-loaded the overtime for this next year. So instead of waiting till the end, making it light, she did a 5-year study, I believe, of what overtime was used, and then front-loaded that salary. So that at the end, if she didn't have enough, she would have to come back to council and ask for an amendment to change that. I like that. I think that's forward thinking instead of reactive thinking. So I appreciate that. We'll see how it works at the end of the year, and maybe we make adjustments. But I appreciate the conversation that I had with you and Ellen, going through all these questions that me and Tom had. There's quite a few of them. But looking at it, like I said, if somebody's worth it, I feel you make the pay. It is a hard pill to swallow for me to do it, but the numbers are the numbers. I'm a numbers guy, and so I'm okay with it as it is. The raises that are proposed in unfortunately for you all, that's all I've got to say.
All right, and I am comfortable with the 3 to 5% across the entire board. That is what I am comfortable with.
May I ask you a question?
We've moved past, we've moved past the audience portion right now.
When was that, Madam Mayor? When was that we got comment on wages?
When everybody that came up to the podium before we all.
That was not on wages. That was not on wages. There was no discussion of wages.
For the reference about the fire department, I think they're underpaid. And I actually said that when I was going through, the paperwork I did. So that's incorrect, if anyone thinks that any of us are, against the fire department. It's just gossip. Thank you.
I did also do a study for the fire department, like the rates, I just looked at that, and our rates are equivalent to those as well in the fire department. Looking at it, people always say, hey, we underpay police, fire, military, and you know what, you're right. Okay, there's guys out there getting bullets shot at them, right? But I also say I did 23 years in the military. You don't become a police officer, maybe you guys are different, but you don't become a police officer or a firefighter or join the military because you want to do that to get rich. You know, you have something in you that wants to serve others, and, you know, I call it the sheepdog, right? You wanna go out and you wanna protect others, and that's, you know, when firefighters run into a building and are willing to sacrifice their lives, how much, you can't put a number on how much that's worth. So, it's a calling. Those jobs are more of a calling than it is necessarily a plan to get rich off of them. So,
Is there a motion?
Make motion to adopt resolution 726, authorizing compensation for all city officers and employees as presented.
Support.
I'll support you.
Link,
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Armstrong,
No.
Miller,
No.
Howard,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Simon.
Yes.
Next up, we have resolution number 08-26, adoption of fiscal year 2026-2027 purchasing resolution.
I don't have anything to add, it's the same as what we presented in the last week, no changes. Just looking for a motion.
Are there any residents that have any question on the purchasing resolution? Any council members? Is there a motion?
Motion.
I'll second.
Resolution 0826, adoption of the fiscal year 2026-27 purchasing resolution.
Is there a support?
Support.
Kristen?
Miller,
Yes.
Simons,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Link,
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Armstrong.
No.
Motion
Moving on to the budget. Chris Pinion,
I already had my say, thank you.
Danielle Poussin.
I've avoided coming here in the past and sharing my opinions because I didn't want people to think that my opinions were simply because I lost the election. Honestly, the issue is, this is a toxic environment and has been for a long time. In the 17 budget sessions that I had on council, we never failed to adopt a budget. We worked through tough times, including the 2008 and 2009 recession. We were worried about having businesses in our storefronts, but we worked together to make the cuts to keep the city funded and moving forward. The mayor and the council all took an oath, and one of your duties is to pass a budget. Section 7.5, the council shall, no later than the first regular meeting in May, adopt by resolution a budget for the ensuing fiscal year and make appropriations. Mayor Armstrong, Councilor Hicks, Councilor Link, and Councilor Miller violated the charter by not passing a budget. Requests for information that are outstanding now show your ignorance of the process and disregard for your duty to the citizens of Linden. Ignorance?
Yes.
What
Yes.
does?
Whoa,
Yes.
Excuse me.
Sit alone.
There can be no.
What does a request regarding the fire department staffing, salaries, responses have to do with your budget? These questions show you do not understand the process. The fire department is essential for the safety of our citizens. Our firefighters are often the first on scene. My husband is a volunteer firefighter. I hear the page go out, and one of the recent pages was the nearest ambulance was 20 minutes away. They get paid when they respond. None of this are in this for the money, but they risk their lives by going into burning buildings for minimum pay. The people voted on a millage in 2022 to assist with police and fire funding. Section 6.11 of the charter says the fire chief is the head of the department and is accountable and responsible to the city manager in the performance of his duties, not to the mayor, not to the council. We'd ask that you pass the budget and appreciate the amazing staff that continues to work on the strategic plan. In my 17 years on council, we never had such an amazing staff. You are lucky to have those people. Thank you.
Judy Preston.
I'm like investigating. I went to the state of Michigan. Let me know. Yes, the charter was broken. No, the charter wasn't, or the lady. The charter was not broken, and they got the information from somebody, I don't know who, that council members and the mayor did not get all of their information that they asked for before voting on the budget. So they said, basically, that it should have been stopped from voting on the budget. You shouldn't have voted until everybody's answers were everybody's questions were answered, and then come to a consensus and an agreement. So that's where the state comes from. Same thing with the FOIA. I was informed that city councils and the mayor are having a FOIA paper. According to the FOIA rules, the council members and the mayor should not have to FOIA anything. They're entitled to public access to all records. I'm sorry I went to the state, but I'm not sorry because I wanted to make sure I was saying something correct. And I just want people to know. And as far as the last meeting, I would have to agree, the city mayor was very rude by making taxpayers FOIA a question that you should have publicly acknowledged, because we're all going to agree and disagree. That's just life. Whether you like purple, you like pink, I don't care. You are here to represent the taxpayers. You're not here to fight. You're not here to bicker back and forth. You're not here to be on other boards, to call people names, do anything. We're not about politics. We're independent. And that is where we're not children. We're adults, hopefully. A 2-year-old could sit on this board and be better than any one of you up here sometimes. That is very shameful. And as far as the mayor goes, hate to tell you, you should be recalled.
I will just really quickly say, Mrs. Preston, I agree with you. I shouldn't have made that statement, and for that I do apologize. I should never have said to FOIA it. It is out now publicly. It is out on my social media page. Everything I requested is out there. So I do apologize for that. You are spot on. I should not have said it, and I should not have made anyone FOIA it. Thank you. Any further comments?
I have concerns regarding the proposed budget, not containing all of the information that the council members had to ask for. I'm concerned that council members
to compile data to get answers. All of that information should have been presented to you with the budget. It's the responsibility of one individual to prepare that budget. And one would hope that each figure on that budget has supporting data. Guess not. Jerry, thank you for all the work you did. You shouldn't have had to. Denise, thank you for all the work you did. You shouldn't have had to. Now, another thing. Michigan Compiled Law 141.435 has certain requirements. I don't have a law degree, I don't have a law background, but I know how to read. Now this is very specific. It says it shall contain da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, that doesn't contain da-da-da-da-da-da. I have a question, and I probably can't be answered tonight. Is it legal for council to vote on a budget that is not legal? That's my question.
Any further public comment? Seeing none, we're gonna start with Brenda, Councilwoman, sorry to see you.
It's okay. You know, I've been on council for 10 years, and it's exciting, and it's good to do your investigation and look at it, because it really helps you when you come to the table. So I do appreciate that. And I've been looking at those numbers, and those Brad has. I'm sure everyone else has been looking at the information, but it is part of our job to do some of this research and understand these things. It's the best way to get in-depth understanding, and I heard you say you spent a couple hours at the table with Ellen talking about budget. You guys? Yeah. So that's what it takes, and I really appreciate that you did that. So, yeah, I don't have any other questions about the budget. Appreciate all the work you've done on it.
Councilman Dick.
Madam Mayor, I'd just like to, get Attorney Gilder's comment or insight on that question from Ms. Vernon, passing the budget that is illegal.
It's council's prerogative whether or not the budget is appropriate and proper, as you understand it. It's, I'm in no position to say whether this budget has violated state law in any way. I trust that it isn't. But at the end of the day, it's up to each of you with your vote to determine whether or not that budget is appropriate and sufficient for your purposes.
Councilwoman Fowler?
Is this on the budget, comment?
Councilman Hicks?
I have no questions on this one right this second.
Councilman Howard? Councilwoman?
It's a pain here. Well, the budget needs to be passed because it contains the monies to keep the city going forward. It's not laid in stone. We can go back and re-examine some of these issues later on. The important thing is to fund the city and the departments so we can go forward. And should we stray past July 1st, the city will shut down. There'll be no garbage picked up. You know, we can't worry about the water. We can't even have a meeting. But we need that budget to establish the groundwork. If we don't get that budget, then again, we're in trouble. However, we can amend this later on. We can go over it. In fact, we do every single meeting when we have financials. Should anybody raise any questions, we can deal with them or find that we need to deal with them at that point.
Councilman Link?
My reason for voting no at the last one is I didn't have all the information that I needed. I came back, I was given that information. Ellen did supply a wage study. But I wanted to look into it a little bit. I don't know how in-depth that she went into it, but I wanted to look into it a little bit more and get that my justification for the raises, that portion of the budget plan. But as far as this portion, this is just the overall budget to assign monies for the city to function. And if we don't use those monies, they will be transferred to somewhere else. Depending on where that money is, determines where that money can go. If it's the fire truck that we're discussing, that money would stay, I believe, in the police and fire department. Safety. Reallocated, yes. So, other than that, I believe in having the conversations. The big date is July 1, is we're absolutely, we need to have this done by. That's really all I have.
I am gonna go back. I hear people say that we didn't pass the budget. Well, I know that reading back in the past, councils, they would have work studies, they would have special meetings to go over the budget. We didn't get any of that. We shouldn't have to go 1 by 1 or 2 by 2 to go into Ellen's office and ask questions. It should be a meeting that we can ask the questions and get the answers. We shouldn't have to go in our paperwork and try to find that. Trying to find 5 different wages in 5 different departments. It would be much better handled here, where we can get the answers. I feel I did my job. And if I would have had this group here where we could have sat and worked as a work session, we didn't have that in May. And we didn't have the second meeting in May. And I think we should bring that back. If we're gonna be doing budgets, that second meeting should be available. We shouldn't be discarding it. So I don't understand that. I would ask for the meetings to come back so we can get all the information before passing the budget. Thank you.
I had written a whole thing, and I'm just gonna cut to the chase. So I got the wage survey. I called MML, I got it, because Councilmember Miller had been asking for it since April 24th. So at the beginning of May, I got it. I sent it to her, and I sent it to Councilman Link. Councilman Link was able to get it open. For whatever reason, Councilwoman Miller was not. I requested that Councilwoman Miller please go back to Ellen to I requested that Councilwoman Miller please go back to Ellen to see if she could obtain the MML wage survey, trying to make it easier for everyone. The wage survey was not my questions, but it was their questions. So it was distributed on May 22nd with the links and an email update. And once Councilwoman Miller was able to receive it, then at that point, she was able to answer the questions. But prior to that, May 22nd is not before that first meeting. And it is not acceptable when there were, to me, in my opinion, when there was 2 meetings, or 2 emails prior, where it had been stated that it was going to be given. And so, while yes, I did obtain it, she was not able to open it. And she never was able to review that draft, which I believe is important for her to be able to do her job. So I'm just gonna leave that, my statement for now and head back. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to pass resolution 0526 adopting the fiscal year 26-27 budget as presented.
Support.
Simons?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
Miller?
No.
Link?
Yes.
Armstrong?
No.
Howard?
Yes.
Hicks?
Yes.
Motion carries. grateful. The city of Fenton and the administration have been gracious enough to offer that for several years now. It's been a great partnership, and looking forward to continue it. I'm just asking tonight for approval on that for the 28th City of Linden Assistance.
Do any residents have any questions on this item? Seeing none. Any council members have any questions?
I'll make the motion. To adopt the 26-28 City of Linden Assessing Services Agreement.
Support.
Howard,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Simons,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Hicks, Hicks,
Yes, I'm sorry.
Miller,
Yes.
Dick.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Moving on to B, resolution number 09-26.
Madam Mayor, City Council, we actually have Tyler here from Southern Lakes. I think he's so sorry, Tyler. It's been a long meeting. But he is here tonight to explain item number B. As you guys know, we've had a partnership with the neighboring communities in Southern Lakes in efforts to advance the trail efforts forward, and so he's here to speak now.
Yeah, so, in 2021, Ed Cleo, my predecessor, came as the last was fundraising and getting support for the next phases of the trail. The board in 2021 approved the support of phase 3, which is Fenton Road in Fenton Township, as well as a $20 contribution. We are currently working with Genesee County in receiving lots of TAP grant fundraising for the Fenton Road project in phase 3. Almost the entirety of the project will be grant funded. So in order for them to take the next steps with their application, they just need a formal resolution supporting the 2021 approval of the minutes from when Ed Cleo came to the board. And the resolution should be in your packet as well.
Are there any resident questions about the pathway? Okay. All right. Councilwoman Miller?
The pathway, is this the same pathway that the citizens in Linden voted no down to years ago in 2020, I believe?
I don't know of any vote that would have went to it.
So to clarify, that was, they actually put a question on the ballot to actually have a millage specific for the pathway. That was what was turned down.
That was what we
Yeah,
voted.
this is separate.
Can you tell me what this would benefit, the 20,000? Is there anything coming into the city of Linden being built?
Well, this is part of the entire last pathway group, which is attaching Argentine to the city of Fenton, the city of Linden, and to Fenton Township. And ultimately, this encompasses part of the legacy network through Genesee County, which attaches basically every single township and city, where you can go anywhere in Genesee County, including to the city.
So Linden will be attached?
Well, this phase 3 specifically is just in Fenton Township, but it encompasses and attaches everything from northern Fenton Township to the city of Linden via going through the city of Fenton, down Silver Lake Road, and then as well as the Fenton Township project that will go across Thompson Road. So this will connect to that route and then coming back to the city of Linden. So it'll connect to the city of Linden through the connectors of the pathway, but this specific project is only in Fenton Township.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Dick?
So you say your tap grants are looking good?
Yes.
Does that mean you really needed 20,000 or? That's why I asked Ed when he brought that to us back in 21. He's like, well, you don't need it right now.
I mean, in a perfect world, yeah, that would be, but, you know, as of right now, we do.
Councilwoman Simons?
No questions, thank you, Tyler.
Councilman Hicks?
I have no questions. I see the garage. I do have one question. The Silver Lake Road, when's that gonna be completed?
It's still on pace for the early August completion. I believe the date is like August 7th. And that's always not gonna look pending any weather.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Howard?
Given the benefits that having a pathway does for a community, it keeps people connected, it's a healthful activity, you can walk anywhere, And it's very good for our property values as well. I think studies have shown that. Yeah, well, that's what I heard at one of our Metro Lines meetings. I think this is a great thing.
Councilman Lee.
Yeah, I guess this was something that the previous council back in 21, agreed to make this $20,000 payment. My question would be, why are we paying $20,000 for a portion of the path that, is 7 miles from here? Where phase 1 was from here to Argentine, I believe phase 2 was from here to Fenton. And then this is from Fenton out to the dog park is that Thompson Road? Okay. That would have been my only question, I guess, at that time. But the fact that we committed to that payment, to the $20,000.
And if it helps, all 3 municipalities contributed to each phase, like the city of Fenton is contributing to the Fenton Township phase as well, which is phase 3. The city of Fenton contributed to phase 4, phase 1, yeah, so each municipality is contributing to all the phases. So it's not just us coming to Linden and asking for it.
Council committed to it,
Yeah.
even though different members, but, all right.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 09-26, MDOT application authorization for Fenton Road Regional Trail.
Kristen?
Hicks,
Yes.
Out,
Yes.
Link,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Simons,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next is item C, sewer inspection camera purchase.
Madam Mayor, City Council, Don, would you like to present on that?
Sure.
Thank you.
Good evening, council. What you have before you tonight is a request for a sewer inspection camera. You'll remember we mentioned this a few meetings back. This was something that we were researching at the time. Several years ago, we started a maintenance and inspection program for the city of Linden. We're going out and we're looking at not only sanitary but storm sewer system, as well as all the structures that are out in the community. We're annually, every year, we're going through and we're having certain districts in the city cleaned, and this camera allows us the opportunity to inspect each one of those structures to help battle infiltration and inflow. So this camera reduces the number of times that our staff actually have to go into a manhole structure, which, if you're not familiar, is called a confined space entry. Every time we do that, we have to monitor it for air quality. We have to set up a tripod for fall protection and extraction if something were to happen. With this camera, it extends down into that structure. We're able to do a 360-degree inspection from top to bottom. And in addition, it'll also allow us to look down the lateral lines to check for infiltration as well. So it's just a tool that's used to, again, provide safety and efficiency for our operations. Happy to ask any question or answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions from the residents? Seeing none? Any questions from council?
I have So Don, this is an excellent tool to have, because you do see our access and egress of even plant roots getting into the sewer, and it spares the city employee who has to go down there, possible carbon monoxide, sewer gas. That also wanted to find out, do you use the sewer gas meter? Because I know this will help prevent sewer gas, which can be explosive.
We do have a monitor, yes.
Okay, you have a monitor, okay, but just doing this thing will not only speed it up, you'll be able to get to more of the city, and you'll be able to see where the leaf litter is really resting and causing an issue.
Correct. And we've also communicated with police and fire that it's also a tool that they could use if they needed to look into, again, a confined space or something for any reason. So.
do. I think this is a good piece of equipment. You guys need, fire, police, and DPW could use it. So do you know how long it would take for you to get this in your hands?
We can get it right away.
Thank you.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the sewer inspection camera purchase.
A second?
Armstrong,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Simons,
Yes.
Loud,
Yes.
Link,
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Dick.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Moving on to the manager's update.
Yes, Madam Mayor, City Council, just a couple of things tonight. Thank you all for advancing and moving the budget and items forward. Appreciate that. Also conducting DPW director interviews this week, so hopeful for the outcome to replace Don after he retires. I have had meetings with our MML loss control to review our risk and liability. They are recommending some overall trainings for city council and staff, so we'll be bringing that recommendation back at a later date, just because of they're seeing increased claims across the industry for certain things, and so they just make a recommendation to help prevent any risk and liability in the future. So always good to have that. So once I have that back from them, I'll bring that forward, and we'll do any necessary training. And then, as you all know, our Ripley Road Bridge has been completed. That is opened up. Tigner, or not Tigner, Miller resurface for Broad is moving along, and moving along well. Hopefully it keeps moving in that direction. Don already give you guys an update on all the other various projects and stuff like that. That's really all that tonight. Happy to have any questions.
Do any residents have any questions for the city manager? Update? Okay. Any council members?
I had a resident, Don, ask, Lindenwood, there was discussion about grinding the, driveways, and they were asking if there's a date that we think that might happen. So
Did-
just figured I would ask you.
Yeah, the residents that are having those corrections made should be getting notification from the engineering department. Yep, so it's coming this summer.
Okay, all
Yep.
right, thank you.
I don't have an exact date, but
Yeah, all right.
it's moving along.
American update on that. They did send it out to the residents there. They were supposed to be opening bids June 12th, construction in July.
Okay.
Trust me.
You must not have got his mail, or looked at it, or approved it.
Okay, we're gonna move on to council comments. And tonight we'll start with Councilman Dick.
Like I say, my colleagues are approving the budget. As you all know, we went through 4 different resolutions to approve the budget. We could have approved the budget and left those other resolutions out, then we wouldn't have had all the tensioning, but it's done now, so I look forward to moving on and another great year in the city. Thank you all. Look forward to it.
Councilwoman Miller.
Well, I asked Ellen today if she had, heard any word about being fired. I appreciate you all, supporting her. I hear there's a rumor about us wanting to fire her. That's not true at all. I don't know where the rumor mill is with that. It's probably the same as the car show, that we were against the car show. That's not true either. I want cameras in the meetings because we had several, episodes where one gentleman shut Pam's computer down on her in the middle of the meeting. We've had other people that, we talked down to, and the DDA meeting that was just at, turned into not a DDA meeting, it turned into, supporting Ellen and, calling names. I got up when the DDA meeting was over and I walked out. I again asked if we could get the tape on that. Apparently I have to FOIA, but I am here for the city. I am here for the residents. You know, it's important that everyone gets heard. And the way that this rumor mill goes around that we want to get rid of Ellen, it's not true. I have never heard that from anyone on this council. And it's not fair to think that that's what we wanna do. If we have legitimate concerns about a budget, there's no reason why we're not having sit-down meetings like they have in the past with Dave Losey and Danielle. They used to sit here and go through the budget. We have not had the opportunity. We've asked for it. The city manager, the mayor, they could have called a special meeting, and we should have had that done. But this saying, we're doing this in the fire department, that's outrageous. That anyone thinks that we want to get rid of the fire department, or we're not, I think they should be making more money. I think more money on the calls. I would never, ever say anything about them. And implying that is just not right.
Councilwoman Simon.
So Tyler stole my thunder for the Southern Lakes Parks and Rec. Ribbon cutting, or, progression of the pathway anyway. I'll let you know when we're gonna have the ribbon cut. But, yeah, it's going really great. Every time I go by there, I get really excited. I'm gonna ride my bike to the ribbon cutting. That's how much I love it. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. And also wanna just thank all of my colleagues here, just as Brad said. We appreciate the hard work and the trouble to go through all this information. And just appreciate that we got to pass our budget tonight. Other than that, yeah, we think it's been a great session.
Councilman Hicks.
Yeah, I got a two-part thing, and I'm not gonna need the mic if they're gonna hear me. I'm sitting here appalled right now because this council ran on transparency. We've been nothing but transparent. We did not say we weren't gonna vote for a budget. We had questions that we were trying to look out for the citizens, trying to look out for your best. There's been other past mayors and stuff that had cookie cutter stuff and just pushed it through. And then we've sat here and had to deal with upset citizens over water, over the historic mill, over the library, and we've done nothing but work hard to come up with ideas and ways to improve and help. And then they have somebody come up and insult us the way they did today? Very unprofessional. Small-minded, unprofessional. I'm trying to help. We're all trying to help. And the same with this, we support Ellen. I don't know where this high school rumor mill gossip thing is coming from, but I'm tired of getting approached in the parking lot every meeting going, well, here we're gonna fire Ellen.
Because that's what's being said.
Then that's gotta stop. Somebody's gotta figure out who's causing those and stop it, because it's
She's
not.
sitting up front.
Yeah.
It's not coming from here.
I am pointing
Excuse me, everybody, this is council comment time. Sorry, nobody,
just-
council comment only.
Excuse me, thank you.
I'm just flabbergasted, that's all. Thank you.
Councilwoman Helen.
I want to thank everybody for voting for the budget. That was a wonderful thing. I wanted to thank everybody for showing up for the Memorial Day picnic, because that was a lot of great camaraderie. It was fun dogging it with the guys. And, I just think that we need more opportunities for that kind of thing. I also want to thank Brooke for all her hard work on the budget that you gave us in April. So thank you very much, Brooke.
Councilman Lee.
I wasn't gonna go down this path, because I'd really like us all to start getting along. As far as the we support Ellen thing, that's great. It's great that you support Ellen, but the one statement I had, because my name was drawn into it, that fire Ellen, right? Well, here's the thing, there's 4 people on this council that are getting accused of trying to fire Ellen. To fire Ellen, you need 4 votes. So if that was a true statement, Ellen would be gone. But that is not a true statement. Okay, I asked about Ellen, and I've said this before, I've asked about Ellen before I came even in here, people that she knows and people that I know. And you know, they had nothing but great things to say about Ellen. Okay? So on that, feel free to bring the signs. That's great that you support Ellen. All right? However, if that was the case, it would have happened, and it hasn't, right? We've supported Ellen, we believe in Ellen, it was a closed meeting, but there was a lot of positive things said about Ellen in the evaluation. So, so if we could squash that, let's squash it right now, okay, and move forward with it. As far as the fire department, I think the fire department needs to be looked at. I think the police department needs to be looked at. I think who we buy pencils from needs to be looked at. All those things always need to be evaluated, right? If you don't, if for the business owners out there, if you don't look at what your business is doing, your business is gonna fail. So you have to look at it. So maybe it's a really simple question. Should we contract out the police department? No. Okay. Here's what, and it's a real quick answer, right? Same thing with the fire department, same thing with the pencils, right? Everything needs to be looked at and evaluated, right? But it needs to be looked at honest. And sometimes the answer's quick, sometimes you gotta do a little bit more research. You know, as far as, you know, the extra work, I did wanna say, Ellen did supply a wage study. I just went in on my own and did additional, I don't know how many cities she looked at, but I just wanted to go in and look at as many as I bought, that I felt was reasonable. So this, when I said I went and looked at it, Ellen, that wasn't me saying that I didn't think you did a good enough job on it. It was just, you know, I wanted to do the research on my own as well. So thank you for putting that together. And then, you know, there's so much turmoil and everything, and like Tom said, you know, we're all here. You know, there's always the old council, new council conversation, right? But every one of the council members up here cares about the city of Linden, because I guarantee we're not doing it for the money. But we're all here, and hopefully we can continue to just bond things together, work together. I don't think we should always vote 7-0, right? But because sometimes somebody has a different opinion, and I think that's healthy if we don't. You know, so I just think we need to look forward, keep building closer as a team, and make Linden as great as we can. You know, it's a good city, and yeah, let's just try to get along a little bit better, please.
And with that, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Second.